So funny thing, I just realized I just wear the same exact shirt every time I record these videos. I promise I wash this thing. I'm about to hit I'll be hitting month 10 of my content creation journey so far. And I, I hesitate to call myself an entrepreneur because I haven't exactly made money yet. I gotta turn off my Rachmaninoff off. I I hesitate to call myself an entrepreneur because I haven't made money yet, but I am essentially trying to make money on the internet. So I am a young, budding rookie entrepreneur. And I have not made a single dollar. I think I said that already, but I have not made a single dollar. And this is probably the closer reality to entrepreneurship than you see on YouTube. And that's not to say that all the gurus are necessarily lying to you, right? Like you actually can make money off this stuff, and I've seen it firsthand. The kinds of money that people are making that I am already connected with. It's just you just have to be willing to temper your expectations and realize that that shit it takes longer than you would think. And a lot of these people who have like explosive fast growth, they already had a lot of either some sort of tangential experience somewhere, like either they were in sales or they were in tech or they did some sort of businessy slash contenty stuff that allowed them to be able to have this explosive growth that sounds sexy on a YouTube title, right? So they're not lying to you. It's just you are just in a different situation, and your timeline, your time horizon, is just going to be different. It could either be longer, it could be shorter. It's it, the it's just not helpful to try to pressure yourself to make it really fast. Now, for myself, at least from like someone who's never really gone into entrepreneurship or never really done that much content writing before this, what I can say so far is that your first year, because I'm going to hit 1 year in about, I think, 2 to 3 months here. Your first year is just you just developing the infrastructure, and I use that term very broadly here, the infrastructure around your life to be able to support this whole thing of entrepreneurship. And I mean that could be financially, but I also really mean, for example, I sucked at organization my entire life. Literally trash at it. I try to get better at it. I had this phase where I watched a lot of Thomas Frank, and I had this like whole like setup, my whole file system. I always end up just defaulting to dumping everything in the desktop and then digging it out. Until I started doing this whole entrepreneurship slash content creation thing. I there was just so much information that I literally had no choice. I was forced to finally level up my organization skills. Now I'm still getting better at it, but generally speaking, like at least in terms of my content creation, my my ghostwriting stuff, it's all organized in Notion. I'm not saying it's perfect and it's not like this sexy super second brain thing from Tiago Forte, although that's where I want to be eventually. But relatively speaking, I'm definitely more organized. I've leveled up my organization more than I ever have in my entire life. In fact, my younger self would probably think I'm like really cool or something because I'm finally using Notion and all that shit. Hell, I even have Notion Calendar, and I actually fucking love it. I love Notion Calendar, and I'm starting to schedule all my stuff. And now also just the whole act of just consistency of like focusing on doing the stuff that you know you need to do, that is also something that I'm just been really getting better at because fuck my first 6 months up to like January. Today's March. From July to January, I was sometimes consistent. I was sometimes not. So being consistent in consistency is probably the most important thing as well. And of course, for myself, it's just being able to handle these like the whole gig emotionally, right? Because you're doing a whole lot of something, and you're getting on the surface what seems to be a whole lot of nothing, right? It seems like all your work is for nothing, basically. And that's the game, is like how long can you do things without getting something in return? And I think that's probably why a lot of people give up. Like you really want to take the mentality that you're basically in college right now, where you're in that game for you're in that shit for like 4, sometimes even 5, 6, 7 years, and you're you're getting your wallet drained, right? But at the end, you theoretically have this job that's waiting for you at the end of the tunnel, right? You really want to take that kind of mindset with entrepreneurship, only except in this case, if you pick the right vehicle, you you continue to improving yourself little by little, just every single day. Like the ceiling is infinite, right? The rewards are theoretically infinite, whereas with a job, 4% raise every year. I think, I mean, I know guys who literally did not make any money for a year, and then even 2 years, and then all of a sudden they make like 500,000 in one year. This is the game. This is the game, and why do I choose to play it? Like, why do I go through all this pain for seemingly nothing in the beginning? Because I have been kind of put in all these dumb, what I thought was dumb, arbitrary structures my entire life. And I am quite frankly fucking sick of it. I dropped out of college in 2021 because I was just done with it. I was done with it. I was an engineer. I was in aerospace engineering. If I'd continued going that route, I would have been an aerospace engineer, probably working at some big corporation, had some sort of security clearance, whatever, which wouldn't be a bad life by a lot of standards, right? But I am in a position where I mean, you could probably see behind me that I'm in a pretty decent place financially. I live in an upper middle class family, like maybe middle or like, yeah, upper middle class family. Both my parents are nurses there, and they're Filipino immigrants. They work their fucking asses off to get me here. And to me, it would be a grave insult if I just followed their path and just did exactly the things that they did. Like, it is my responsibility. I have been instead of me having to worry about food growing up like my dad did sometimes, all I had to worry now I have the space to worry about bigger things, bigger problems like, oh, what about happiness? What about living my life? What about freedom and autonomy? And the way I see it, there is no world out there where doing a 9 to 5, doing that whole thing is going to get me that. And so I'm willing to suffer so much more pain, so like this temporary pain in order to get that end. Because to me, the pain of being in that 9 to 5 is significantly greater than any pain that I could possibly experience right now. And I've I used to be so angry. And in many ways, I still am. I used to be angry. I used to be resentful because I was stuck in school and I was fucking stuck and I hated it. I remember in sixth grade, I would cry when I wake up. As soon as I wake up, I would start crying because I didn't want to go to school. It was so fucking miserable, right? And the reason why I had to go through that is I needed to build up. I needed to know that pain so well. Like I needed to know what it fucking tasted like so that I could be able to use that as fuel to get through whatever I'm going through right now. Because I'm telling you right now, this shit feels fucking amazing. At the end of the day, I am grateful that I'm in this position right now. But that means I have to put up with a lot of bullshit. But none of that even holds a candle to all that shit that I went through in school. That was like basically the first 20 years of my life. And yeah, it might seem like it was gone to waste, but I needed that. I needed to collect all that fucking that energy that and then I needed to learn how to unleash it into entrepreneurship. I wouldn't have been able to figure that out. I wouldn't be where I am today if I did not have that pain, that that shittiness of school, that to see like, oh wow, this sucks and I want to create something better. And I think I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm an optimist. Like throughout it all, like I believe in humanity. I love the world. I love humanity. I love like it's all love. But it was learning through that pain and learning through that anger and that resentment. That's where I had to figure that out. And that's what entrepreneurship is. It's your ticket to I think it's the only path. If you want to have complete control, or at least more control over your time and your money, or actually, let me put it this way: if there are levels of control, there are paths in life where you could have varying levels of control over it. Entrepreneurship is the one path that has the most potential for most control and autonomy and freedom. Because there are still entrepreneurs who end up just working themselves into a mobile 9 to 5, right? But then there are the other entrepreneurs who figure out, okay, look, I only want to work 4 hours a day or 3 hours a day, and while I'm making fucking 5 million a year. Justin Welsh, look at Justin Welsh. Man works 4 hours a day, 5 million a year. So entrepreneurship is the only thing. Literally, it's the only thing. And I really wish if there's something else out there, somebody fucking tell me. But I doubt anyone's watching this anyways. But entrepreneurship is the only thing that allows you for maximum potential of control over your life. And that's why I go with entrepreneurship.